Hey, are you interested in learning how to make a wonky star? Well, you are in the right place. Today, we are making a wonky star out of this fabric right here. Welcome back, everybody, to Creating Hanley. I am the Hanley at Creating Hanley, and today we are making a simple 9-patch. Basically is what we're doing. So our star block of the month for May 2023, which is timeless. You can make this at any time. It's going to be a super easy, simple star called a wonky star. And all we need is 8 4.5-inch squares of your background. So we just need 8 4.5-inch squares of your background fabric. Mine happens to be this creamy color, this off-white, this beige, like a bone-ish kind of color. And then I have 5, and they don't have to be different, but 5 4.5-inch of a color. So it could be all the same color, whatever works for you, but I just chose these 5 different 4.5-inch squares. This one's a batik. You know, these are just kind of like scraps that I had. So just 5 4.5-inch squares of a color. So basically, you really only need 2 colors of fabric. Your background, 8 4.5-inch squares, and your highlight, your whatever color you want. So this is 5 4.5-inch squares. So they're all the same. And basically, we're going to sew these together and make a simple 9-patch. And I'm going to try to do it all in this one video. So I already cut my pieces, and they're all the same. So I'm going to take you down to the sewing surface. Here we go. Alright, so what you want to do after you cut all your squares is now you take these, well, you save one for the middle. So we're going to set one aside. And I'm using this batik. I'm going to set the batik aside. And then, so now you just have 4 4.5-inch squares. Line them all up. And then we are going to cut them on an angle. So we're going to cut them at a diagonal. So you can cut one at a time, or you can line them all up so that they're all absolutely, you know, lined up side to side. And then we're going to cut at a diagonal. So I'm going to take you over to my cutting surface over here. And this is my rotary cutting mat. We're just going to set that aside. But I'm going to cut using my straight edge from this corner to this corner, and we only need one cut. So it doesn't have to be super perfect, but the little bit more accurate here, the better. Now, today is a star that does not require absolute perfection. Absolute, just like that, okay? So all I did was line up side to side, and then straight edge. And now we have pierogies. Now we have pierogi halves. Okay. So the majority of our stars to date have been precision cutting, precision alignment, precision sewing, but today, no precision is absolutely necessary. A wonky star sounds exactly like that. It's just going to be wonky. So now we have these 4, we actually have 8 triangles now. So now we have 8 triangles in which to choose from. Now if they're all the same color, then it's not going to be difficult for you. And if they are different colors, it's still not going to be difficult. So here we go. So you take one of your background, and then 2 stars, or 2 triangles. And make sure the right sides are up for your background. If you have, now this does not really have a front and a back. So if your fabric does not really have a front and a back, then just choose whatever side you want to be the front. So this is the right side. And then on your triangle, take the right side down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to line up these edges. Not really line them up, but make sure these points hang off the edge of your square. So let me pick this up for you. So here's where the triangle is, right? So this is the long edge right here on the bottom, and these are the two short edges. So this is the line that we cut from diagonal to diagonal. Now we're going to take the right sides and place it down, and make sure these corners hang off the edge. Okay. And then we're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then when you peel it back, your stars should cover, this fabric, actually this color fabric should cover your back. So if you can imagine, when you're just, before you actually put stitches in here, just kind of peel it back like, okay, this is where the 1/4 inch seam allowance would be. And if there's any spot where it doesn't cover, like right here, mine doesn't really cover. So now I know I need to change the angle of my triangle a little bit more, so more of the edges hang off the side. So again, when I imagine, okay, it's sewed on here, and now these edges cover. And that's what you want. You want to make sure that you cover the edges. So I'm going to line up my triangle right here, just like so. And this is where we sew. So that basically what we're doing is we are going to cut off this corner of the background and replace it with the color. So we've done something similar to that in a previous episode on one of our star blocks. So we're doing the same thing again here. So I'm going to take you over to the machine, and again, just do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and my thread matches the background fabric. So you can use whatever thread color you want, but my bobbin and thread matches the background fabric. And so here we have it sewn on a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now when we open this up, like so, this hangs off the edge. So you can see it hangs off the edge, and that's supposed to. It's supposed to do that. And so alright, now I'm going to take it over to the pressing board. Or your iron. And so that I have a nice, and so when you square it up, you're going to cut off those edges to square it up. So we leave everything intact as it is right here. And then I'm going to take another color. So this one is a directional. Do I want to place a directional on here? Yeah, I'm going to place a directional on here. So this fabric is a directional, and you can put it sideways if you want. So in your square, it could go sideways, or it can go, vertical. So it depends on what your direction is and what you want out of it. So I'm going to place it right here. And then, so I know that when I fold this back and open it up, it's going to cover this corner right here. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then it also covers the first triangle you put down. Let's try to speed this up a little bit. So we're doing this in real time. This is a quilt-along. So I'm quilting along, you're quilting along with me, I'm quilting along with you. Quilting along as we go. So now that I peel that back, and I can tell that I've definitely covered the corner there. You can see all the hangover there, and that is exactly what you want. So again, I'm going to press this down. And now I trim up. So take you over to the cutting mat. I'm just going to use my square. And I'm going to use the same square that I have here. And I'm just going to trim, making sure that everything is lined up. Actually, I'm going to use this rotary mat. And so you still want to maintain you still want to maintain a 4.5-inch square here. So 4.5-inch and 4.5-inch. So what I would do if I were you is to measure on this side and this side, 4.5-inch and 4.5-inch, so that you can trim up these 3 sides. So it is still 4.5-inch square. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so line up my ruler. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4.5 there. 1, 2, 3, 4.5 there. Okay. And this is probably the only precision part that you need to like really do for the cutting. Alright, so now I've lined up that, and one more side. Four and a half inch, and trim that down. So now I have a 4.5-inch block. Now with this piece on the back, feel free to trim that away if you like, because now this has replaced the background. So you can trim that away. And this is a big enough piece for me to save for my crumb blocks. So I'm going to save that for my crumb blocks. And then do the same thing to the other side. Trim that up. And now we have a 4.5-inch block. These two are now going to be part of our star legs. So we're making a wonky star, and you can tell that this point is not level with this point. These 2 points are not level, and that's what makes it wonky. Alright, let's do the next one. So that's all we want to do for 4 of these. So we take 4 and we save these are going to be for our corners. So we set 4 aside, and then we only work with 4 background. So here we go with, let's do this color, and again I want to make sure that I cover the edge, so I'm going to make it maybe a little bit more slanted this way. Wait, is that going to work? Hopefully that'll work. Alright, not hopefully, it will. So you just play around with it a little bit, and then if you find that, oh, it's not really working for you, then you just take the stitches out and re-stitch it. Not a super big deal. Oh, you couldn't even see that. So anyway, stitch that on, so now it looks like this. And then when you open it up, here we go. That covers. So you can tell, it covers the sides. Okay, let's take it back to the machine. So here I'm just going to press. So it lays flat, and it definitely covers this edge. And now I take a different color. So, like so. Alright, this will be good. So I've already organized my stars here. I'm just gonna do that so I make it a little bit easier for myself. Okay. Now this goes here, and then this goes on this side. And so again, just kind of play with it, look to see what works. And that doesn't work, so I'm gonna take it over this way, and that's gonna work. Alright. So 1/4-inch seam allowance. And then we open this up. So see how this works right here? So that's what that looks like. And then we open it up. And then we've covered the edge. Great. So now we have maintained the integrity of our square. Okay, we've maintained the integrity of our square. So here's another star leg. So I'm just gonna save this one and we will trim later. So let's just do all the sewing right now. So this one is a directional, and I believe I want the directional to go, how do I want the directional to go? So I want the directional to go this way. So I'm going to place it like here, and so when I sew it, it's going to open up like that. So I know this is going to be the second one. So I'm going to place the first one in the right hand corner. So I work on the bottom right first, and then I do the bottom left. So just going to throw that there. And then open it up, and I can see I've covered the background, so we're good. I just like to, you do not have to press it out. I just like to work on a flat surface so that it helps me just in my brain. So there we go. I'm just going to place this down and another quarter-inch seam allowance. And then when I open this up, yes, indeed, that is a 1/4 inch. And there we go. Actually, I'm going to make that a little bit better. Okay. So hopefully, yeah, there we go. So what I did, so you can see what I did, the first stitch I did was kind of narrow, and so the second stitch comes over this way. So let me use a pointer. So the first stitch I did was a little bit narrow. It's right here, the first stitch. And then I did, the second stitch I did was more of a 1/4 inch. It might be a little bit over a 1/4 inch, but that's okay. But what it did is it increased the size of the triangle. So it still covers the base. It still covers the 4.5 inch square. But I just made the triangle a little bit bigger. So you can do that. Not a big deal. And I'm not even going to rip out the first, because I don't need to. The first stitch line. Not necessary. So again, I know when I look at the back, I know this 4.5 inch square is covered with the new fabric, so we're good there. I'll trim it up in a minute. Just add it to the other one. And then here is another star. So let me see, what the pattern have I been using? Mostly I've been putting, yeah, we'll do this. We'll do this. Okay. Okay. So I'll put the yellow one here. And that doesn't really matter if you're using all the same color. Because I'm using many different colors, I kind of want it to be wonky. So I don't want it to be all uniform. I want it to be a little bit different each time. Okay. And then if I do this, maybe do this. All right, we're going to do that. That's going to work out so nice. Okay. So I open this up, and yes, indeed, the sides have now been covered. I'm just going to give it a press. And then take it over to the cutting mat so you guys can see. Again, this is the one that's done already. Set that aside. And if you want to, you can cut the background off. So I'm doing it a couple different ways. You can do, you know what, I'm just going to leave this one on. Because this one's already sewed down, I'm just going to leave that one on. So you could do that a couple different ways. You can take off that background if you want already, and because you're lining it up with a square, you know you're getting the exact measurements that you need. So here is my 4.5 inch mark and my 4.5 inch mark. So I know this is a square. I'm going to trim 2 sides, and then I will spin it and trim the other 3rd side. So here's 1, 2, and then spin, and make sure this is lined up. This is probably the most time-consuming part right here. Oh, and because I keep shaking it, it changes on me. Alright, of course this is a wonky star, so you don't have to get like super perfect, but you do want to be, you know, pretty close. So here are two legs, star legs already. That one and that one. Okay. Alright. There's the 3rd. Let's do it this way. Okay, so 4.5 inch. Oh, I keep pushing it out of alignment here. Okay, here we go. So now we have our 4 star legs. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is all we have to do to make our 9 patch. Super easy. So now we get our middle section and then our 4 corners. And just push this camera back. So we put our whatever one you want in the center. And this is also an opportunity. If you wanted to fussy cut something, you can fussy cut something right here. So if you wanted to put in like a whatever it is, like a motif, then you would, you know, fussy cut your motif and then put that right there. I am going to use, what side do I want to use? I want to use this side. So now this is a star. So I'm going to place my star like so. And you can arrange it however it works for you. And then you put your corners in. See how easy that is? Guys, it's so easy. I wanted to do something a little fun and a little not so specific and, you know, like, okay. Now, one thing you want to do is if you're using different colors, you probably don't want to line them up. Now, if you're using all the same colors, yes, everything is going to look pretty uniform there. But these two, I don't really want touching. So I'm going to place maybe that one there and that one there. Does that look? Nope, now this touches. Okay, so, guys, this might be harder than I thought. All right, let's do that. Okay, so now these are opposites and these are opposites. The oranges are opposites. So there we go. Okay, that works for me. So that's how I'm going to line that up. Can you see that a little bit better? And you see these star points are not in the same place. And that's perfect. That's what you want. It's called wonky because you want it to be wonky. Okay? So now we take this as a simple 9 patch. Now we just take these in sections. So sew this row together, sew this row together, and sew this row together. Okay, so I'm going to take this side, and you want to line that up. This side, and now I'm going to chain piece these to make it a little bit quicker. Line that up, and then line that side up. So I'm going to chain piece these. 1/4 inch seam allowance, or maybe a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. Alright. Make sure everything is lined up here. And here. Okay, now I'm going to leave this block in, and I'm just going to cut these two. Oh, you probably can't even see that. Oh my gosh, this video. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not on the ball today, I guess. That's my fault. And then I open this up, and then I place this side here. So right sides together. You guys have been doing a 9 patch. We've done a 9 patch before, so you know how that works. Alright, so here's this. 1/4 inch seam allowance here. And then this is the center. If I open this one up, this is the center, and these two star legs attach to the center piece. So right sides together, flip that over. And then I am going to turn this around the other way. So when I line this up, I'm going to turn it this way so I can sew it on this edge. 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then I still left a block on at the edge here. I'm going to cut this off. And open this one up. And I know this one is in the center, so I attach the last corner, background corner to that. Line it up. 1/4 inch seam allowance. Alright, and then that is it for that. Cut these apart, and now I know this is the center, this is the bottom edge, oh, this one up here, and then this one goes right here. Alright, you guys see that? Now I am going to press these open because you see how they kind of flip up like that? I'm taking, so if the seams want to go to the outside, I just press it to the outside. Okay. Press to the outside. I believe I hear my cat coming in with a toy because she wants to play. Now, the middle ones can press to the inside. So do you see how the middle one is? You can press this to the inside because there's a lot of bulk right here at this seam. If you press it over, there's going to be a lot of bulk right there. So you can press these to the inside to open up that flow of fabric. And I just use a dry iron, but you can add a little steam to relax the threads. Okay, and now we have our 3 rows here. Now we're just going to sew this row to this row, nest the seams right here. So nest these edges right along there. And if you want to trim up the edges, feel free. So we add our 1/4 inch seam allowance to this row. You want to make sure that the bottom seams are flipped the right way. And then if you have to stop and readjust the fabric, feel free to do that so everything is lined up. Actually my seam got a little wonky on my Wonky Star. Right here, my seam got a little wonky. So that will add a pucker. Now I iron it open and then attach this side to here, right sides together. Okay, nest the seams, and my corners are not going to match on the center, and I'm okay with that. You know, it is a Wonky Star anyway. So, we're just kind of playing with this. It doesn't have to be super perfect. Make sure everything is lined up here. I mean, you still want things lined up and to match, but it's still going to be playful and wonky. Okay, and there we have it, our Wonky Star. Alright guys, we did it. Here's our Wonky Star. Nice. That's May 2023 Wonky Star Block of the Month. Thank you everybody. That was real time. That was a half an hour. So we did that in a half an hour, and I took a little bit of time. I was a little bit slow on that. But yeah, so half an hour start to finish. Alright, for 1 star, you guys. Awesome. I love it. And this can go whatever direction that you want. Of course, if you're only using 1 color and 1 background, you only need 2 fabrics. And here's our 12.5-inch square block. Let's just see if it is a 12.5-inch square with my Omni Grid here. And it is indeed 12.5 inches. That's fantastic. So we did make... That's the back, and it measures up perfectly. So 9 4.5 inches will make a 9 patch that is 12.5 inches big. So there you go. All right, that's our star block, Wonky Star for May. Thanks everybody for sewing along with me. I appreciate it. Stay tuned for our next block. This is actually the 3rd one that we've done so far. I gave 2 bonuses for May. So this is our real star block for May. The other 2 bonuses were the gold star that I just did on the black background and the Dresden plate because I wanted some sunshine. So I did the Dresden plate, and we'll do a video on that because I want to continue on with this little one. I want to do another one kind of like a sunflower or maybe like a flower. Instead of the sun being the major star, right? So this is the major star. But we finished it. We finished our Wonky Star. Thanks everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.